we are about to discuss registration under VAT in UAE. Every person having a place of residence in the state or the implementing state shall register mandatorily if the aggregate value of supplies exceed 375,000 dirhams, or register voluntarily if the aggregate value of supplies or expenses exceeds 187,500 dirhams, where the value of supplies will be calculated by taking taxable as well as zero-rated supplies during the previous 12 months but excluding exempt supplies as well as supply of capital goods. If it is anticipated that the aggregate supplies will exceed the threshold limit during the next 30 days, then also registration is required. Let's have an example. Suppose a person supplies exempt items worth 700,000 dirhams and taxable goods worth 100,000 dirhams. Then the value of supplies for calculating the threshold will be 100,000 dirhams only. As this is lower than the threshold limit, the person need not take registration. However, if such a person is making zero-rated supplies instead of exempt supplies, the value of supplies shall be 800,000 dirhams and thus he will have to apply for registration. A person is not required to get himself registered if he supplies only zero-rated goods. However, if he chooses to claim refunds of recoverable input tax, he may choose to apply for registration. Let's have an example. X supplies zero-rated goods worth 600,000 dirhams, so he is not required to take registration. Now, if he purchases input from registered dealers, he has to pay tax on the same, but he cannot claim credit of this input tax since he is unregistered. In such a case, he shall get himself registered so that he can claim refunds of the input tax paid with respect to his purchases. A person not having a place of residence in the state or implementing state will have to get himself registered if it is making supplies to a resident consumer or unregistered person. A person shall be granted only one tax registration. The concept of tax group has also been introduced to allow two or more persons or entities to take a single registration if all the following conditions are met. First, each shall have a place of establishment or fixed establishment in the state. Second, the relevant person shall be related parties. Third, one or more persons conducting business in a partnership shall control the other. The government entities shall apply for registration only if its activities are conducted in a non-sovereign capacity or in competition with the private sector. A registrant is required to apply to the authorities for deregistration if he stops making taxable supplies, if the value of taxable supplies made over a period of 12 consecutive months is less than the voluntary registration threshold. A registrant may apply for deregistration if the value of his supplies during the past 12 months was less than the mandatory registration threshold limit. However, a person who has opted for voluntary registration cannot apply for deregistration within 12 months of the date of registration. The portal for registering under VAT is fta.gov.ae.